I'm Riley, 29 female. I live with my fiancé, Ethan, in a cozy downtown apartment that's always filled with blueprints and fabric swatches, a perfect fusion of our two worlds. By trade, I'm an event planner, someone who thrives on schedules, details, and creating perfect moments for other people. It's a life built on order and happy endings, which is why I never saw the chaos that was about to erupt in my own. My story is about how a single bottle of champagne, sent as a peace offering to my best friend, ended up becoming the catalyst for a revenge she never saw coming. Before this story unfolds, I'd love to connect with you. Please let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is in your corner of the world. It's amazing to see how far these stories can travel. There are certain moments in life that feel like anchors, holding you steady in the chaotic sea of existence. For me, one of those moments was when Ethan asked me to marry him. It wasn't a grand, public spectacle. It was private, intimate, and perfectly us. We were on the rooftop of our apartment building, sharing a cheap pizza and watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and violet. He didn't have a flashy speech. He just looked at me, his eyes reflecting the city lights below, and said, "Riley, I can't imagine a single day of my future without you in it. Let's make it official." The ring was a simple, elegant sapphire, my birthstone, nestled between two small diamonds. It was a testament to how well he knew me. I wasn't a woman who craved ostentatious displays. I craved sincerity, thoughtfulness, and a partner who saw the real me. Ethan was all of that and more. He was the calm to my occasional storm, the logical architect who could ground my creative, sometimes scattered, event planner brain. Of course, the first person I called after my parents was Sophia, my best friend since we were 5 years old, building forts out of couch cushions and promising to be each other's maids of honor. Her shriek of excitement nearly blew out my speaker. "Oh my God, Riley! Finally! I've been waiting for this forever. We have to celebrate." And celebrate we would. As an event planner, orchestrating my own engagement party felt like a capstone project. This wasn't for a client, this was for me, for Ethan, for the life we were about to build. We sat down with a calendar a week after the proposal. We wanted a date that was special to us. We chose October 12th. It was the anniversary of our first date, a crisp autumn evening that had felt magical from the start. It felt right, a perfect circle. The venue was a charming little art gallery downtown that I'd worked with before. It had exposed brick walls, high ceilings, and a beautiful, intimate atmosphere that was perfect for the 75-person guest list we had in mind. I secured the date with a deposit that very day. The invitations, designed by a talented friend in the industry, were sent out as save the dates 2 weeks later, a full 3 months before the party. I hand-delivered Sophia's. She held the thick cardstock in her perfectly manicured hands, her eyes scanning the elegant script. "October 12th, it's perfect," she'd gushed, pulling me into a hug. "I am so happy for you, Riles. You deserve all of this." Looking back, I wonder if I saw the flicker of something in her eyes, a shadow that passed too quickly for me to register. But at the moment, I was swept up in her enthusiasm, in the comfortable rhythm of our 2-decade-long friendship. Sophia had always been the more flamboyant of the two of us. While I was coordinating behind the scenes, she was always front and center. She opened a chic clothing boutique a few years ago called Sophia's Closet, which had become a hotspot for the city's trendy crowd, largely thanks to her savvy and relentless self-promotion on social media. She was beautiful, charming, and knew how to command a room. I had always admired her confidence, seeing it as the perfect complement to my more reserved nature. She was the sparkle, and I was the steady hand. We just worked, or so I thought. The weeks that followed were a blur of joyful planning. Ethan, bless his architect's heart, created a floor plan for the gallery to optimize flow. My cousin, Olivia, a brilliant chef who had just launched her own catering business, worked with me to design a menu of exquisite hors d'oeuvres. Everything was falling into place. The RSVPs were rolling in, filled with heartfelt congratulations. My parents were flying in, Ethan's family was thrilled, and our shared circle of friends was buzzing with excitement. It was everything I had ever dreamed of. It was a date set in stone, a night that was supposed to be a cornerstone of my happiness, protected by the certainty of love and the unbreakable bond of friendship. How naive I was. I had planned for every contingency except the one that mattered most: betrayal from the person I trusted with my entire life. The first sign of trouble appeared not as a storm cloud, but as a bright, flashy post on Instagram. It was a Tuesday morning, about a month and a half before the party. I was sipping my coffee, scrolling idly through my feed when a post from Sophia stopped me dead. It was a professionally designed graphic, all glitter and gold, with bold text that read, "Save the date. Join me for my fabulous 29th birthday bash. A night of glamour, champagne, and celebration you won't want to miss. October 12th. I blinked, read it again, and then a third time. My heart did a slow, painful lurch. October 12th. It had to be a mistake, a typo. She knew, of course she knew. I had hand-delivered the invitation. We had talked about it for weeks. I immediately pulled up her contact and called her. She answered on the third ring, her voice bubbly and distracted. "Hey, Riles, what's up?" "Sophia," I said, trying to keep my voice even. "I just saw your Instagram post for your birthday party." "Oh, isn't it gorgeous? I hired a graphic designer. I'm going all out this year. The big 29, you know, the last year of my 20s. "The date," I said, my voice getting smaller. "It says October 12th. There was a pause on her end. It wasn't a long pause, but it was just long enough for me to know this wasn't an accident. "Oh, that," she said, her tone shifting from bubbly to dismissive. "Yeah, it's the only Saturday the rooftop bar I wanted was available. You know how hard it is to book a good venue." I was speechless. The irony of her saying that to me, an event planner, was not lost on me. "But, Sophia, that's the night of my engagement party. My and Ethan's party, you've known for months." I know," she said, and I could practically hear her waving her hand dismissively. "It's such a bummer, but what can you do? My birthday is my birthday. It kind of has a recurring claim on the date, don't you think?" "A recurring claim?" I stammered. "It's a Saturday. You could have celebrated on Friday or the weekend after. My engagement party is a once-in-a-lifetime event." "Well, this is my last year in my 20s party," she retorted, as if that was an equivalent milestone. "Look, Riles, I told our friends that you'd understand. You're always so chill about this stuff. We can celebrate your engagement another time. I'll take you and Ethan out for a super nice dinner, my treat." I felt a cold knot tighten in my stomach. She wasn't just dismissing my feelings, she was actively managing the narrative, telling our mutual friends that I had already signed off on this. She was making me the chill friend who wouldn't mind having her special night completely bulldozed. "Sophia, no," I said, my voice firming up. "I don't understand. This is incredibly hurtful. We chose that date for a reason. Our families are coming. We sent out invitations." "Well, I've sent out mine now, too," she said defensively. "People can choose where they want to go. It's not a big deal. Don't be so dramatic." The conversation ended soon after that, with Sophia acting as if I was the one creating the problem. I hung up the phone, my hand trembling. I felt dizzy, disoriented. This wasn't the Sophia I knew. The Sophia I knew would have been horrified at the mix-up and would have immediately changed her plans. But this new version was cold, calculating, and utterly dismissive of my feelings. The fallout was immediate. My phone started buzzing with texts from our mutual friends. "Hey, so what's the deal with the 12th? Sophia said you were cool with her party?" Another one read, "This is so awkward, I don't know which one to go to." Sophia had put everyone in an impossible position, forcing them to choose a side. And because she had framed it as me being okay with the situation, anyone who chose her party could do so with a clean conscience. It was a masterful, manipulative move. When Ethan came home that evening, he found me sitting on the couch, staring blankly at the wall. I explained the situation, the words tumbling out in a torrent of hurt and confusion. He listened patiently, his expression hardening with every detail. "She did it on purpose, Riley," he said simply when I was done. "You don't know that," I whispered, though I knew in my gut he was right. I was still trying to find a version of this story where my best friend hadn't deliberately stabbed me in the back. "Yes, I do," he said, wrapping his arms around me. "And so do you. No true friend would ever do this." He held me as I cried, not just for the party, but for the sudden, gaping crack that had appeared in the foundation of a friendship I had thought was indestructible. We decided we wouldn't cancel our party. This night was about our love, our future. We wouldn't let her selfishness poison it. We would hold our heads high and celebrate with the people who truly wanted to be there for us. But as I went to sleep that night, a heavy dread settled over me. Sophia hadn't just scheduled a competing party. She had delivered an ultimatum, a public declaration that her wants would always come before my needs. And the most painful part was that she was counting on me being too nice to fight back. The evening of October 12th arrived with a crisp autumn chill in the air. As I stood in the art gallery, watching my cousin Olivia direct her staff as they placed the final touches on the food displays, I felt a strange mix of emotions. The gallery looked stunning. Soft uplighting cast a warm glow on the exposed brick, fairy lights twinkled around the support beams, and small bouquets of white roses and eucalyptus adorned every table. It was everything I had envisioned. Yet, a shadow lingered over the perfection. Our guest list of 75 had dwindled to just under 50. One by one, the texts had trickled in over the past few weeks. "So sorry, Riles, something came up. Going to wish Soph a happy birthday, we'll try to swing by later." They never did. "This is so tough, but Sophia's my ride." Each message was a small prick to the heart. It wasn't just about the numbers, it was about the choice. They had chosen her. Ethan squeezed my hand, his warmth a comforting anchor. "It looks beautiful, Riley. And everyone who is here tonight is here for us. That's all that matters." He was right. My parents were beaming with pride. Ethan's family was warm and effusive. Olivia kept shooting me supportive smiles from across the room. Our truest friends, the ones who had seen Sophia's move for the power play it was, were all here, their presence a balm on my wounded spirit. Still, I couldn't completely shake the thought of the other party happening just a few blocks away. A bigger, louder party, hosted by the woman who was supposed to be standing by my side tonight. In a moment of what I can only describe as profound, misguided grace, I decided to make a gesture. I wanted to prove, perhaps more to myself than to anyone else, that I was taking the high road, that I wouldn't let her actions make me bitter. I called a liquor store and ordered a bottle of their finest champagne to be delivered to Sophia's party at the rooftop bar. I dictated the note over the phone, my voice steady despite the tremor in my heart. "Happy birthday. Thinking of you tonight. Love, Riley." A simple, elegant message, an olive branch. The party went on. We laughed, we ate Olivia's incredible food, and my father gave a touching toast that brought tears to my eyes. Ethan and I opened our beautiful gifts and thanked everyone for being a part of our journey. On the surface, it was a wonderful night. But underneath, I felt a constant, dull ache. Later that night, long after the last guest had departed and Ethan and I were back in our quiet apartment, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Olivia. "You home, you need to see this." A moment later, a video file appeared on my screen. I pressed play. The video was shaky, clearly filmed discreetly. It was dark, but I could immediately recognize the setting, the trendy rooftop bar Sophia had booked. The camera zoomed in on Sophia herself. She was holding a bottle of champagne aloft, the very same expensive brand I had sent her. A crowd of our mutual friends was gathered around her, cheering. "A toast," Sophia yelled over the music, a wide, triumphant smirk on her face. She was glowing, soaking in the adoration. "A toast to my best friend, Riley, for this lovely bottle." A few people clapped, looking a bit awkward. "She sent this over from her little engagement party," Sophia continued, her voice dripping with condescension. "Sweet, isn't it? Always trying to do the right thing." She paused for dramatic effect, leaning in as if sharing a delicious secret. But let's be real. I knew when I planned this party that she wouldn't have the guts to say anything. I mean, who gets engaged in October anyway? Everyone knows this is my birthday month. A ripple of sycophantic laughter went through her audience. My blood ran cold. She's an event planner, and she couldn't even secure a date that didn't clash with her best friend's biggest night? Sophia scoffed. Please, I did her a favor. Now she knows who her real friends are. The ones who know how to really party. She tipped the bottle back and took a long drink straight from it as the crowd roared its approval. The video ended there. I stared at my phone screen, the black mirror reflecting my own stunned, ashen face. The air left my lungs in a painful rush. It wasn't just a betrayal. It was a performance. She had used my peace offering, my attempt at grace, as a prop in her cruel theater. She had stood in front of our friends and mocked my love, my career, and my character. The dull ache I had been feeling all night sharpened into a blade of pure, white-hot agony. The champagne I had sent wasn't an olive branch to her, it was a trophy. And the toast she gave wasn't just a thank you, it was a toast to treachery. In that moment, something inside me shifted. The hurt didn't disappear, but it was joined by a new feeling. A cold, quiet, and utterly resolute fury. I didn't move for a long time. I just sat on the edge of the bed, the video looped in my mind, each word a fresh stab. The casual cruelty, the rehearsed performance of it all, the way she turned my gesture of kindness into a punchline, it was a new level of malice I hadn't known she possessed. Ethan came out of the bathroom, saw my face, and immediately knew something was wrong. Riley, what is it? I couldn't speak, I just held out the phone. He took it, pressed play, and stood beside me, his presence a silent, solid weight in the spinning room. I watched his jaw tighten, his knuckles turning white as he gripped his phone. When the video finished, he didn't say, "I told you so." He simply sat down next to me, took my hand, and said, "I am so sorry. I am so sorry she did that to you." His validation was the crack in the dam. The shock gave way to a flood of tears, hot and furious. It was a grief for a friendship that I now realized had been dead for a very long time. I just hadn't been willing to sign the death certificate. That video was the certificate, the autopsy, and the eulogy all in one. As the hours crept by and the initial storm of emotion subsided, something else began to take its place. The hurt was still there, a deep, resonant ache, but it was being overshadowed by a chilling clarity. It was like a switch had been flipped in my brain. Suddenly, I was looking back at my 24-year friendship with Sophia through a new, unforgiving lens. The video wasn't an isolated incident. It was a Rosetta Stone that suddenly made sense of 1,000 other small, confusing moments. I started connecting the dots. I remembered the time in college when I'd spent weeks working on a major marketing project, only for Sophia, my project partner, to present all of my key ideas as her own during the presentation, smiling and batting her eyelashes at the professor while I stood there in stunned silence. When I confronted her later, she'd laughed it off. "Oh, Riles, we're a team. It doesn't matter who says what. We got an A, didn't we?" I had let it go. I remembered the surprise, 25th birthday party she'd thrown for me. It was a lovely gesture on the surface, but she had invited 3 of her ex-boyfriends, one of whom had ended things with me in a particularly messy way. When I pulled her aside, flustered and upset, she'd put on a mask of wide-eyed innocence. "Oh my God, I totally forgot you two dated. I'm so sorry. I just wanted all your favorite people here." But she hadn't forgotten. I knew she hadn't. It was a subtle power play, a way to stir up drama and position herself as the serene center of it. I had let that go, too. There were the endless backhanded compliments. "That dress is so brave of you, I could never pull that off. Your new apartment is so cozy. It's amazing what you can do with such a small space. Ethan is great. He's so much more stable than the artistic types you usually go for." Each comment was a tiny paper cut, disguised as a compliment, designed to subtly undermine my confidence. And then there were the times she actively sabotaged my happiness. The time I was up for a promotion, and she accidentally let it slip to my boss at a company happy hour that I was so stressed and thinking of looking for something less demanding. I didn't get the promotion. When I asked her why she would say that, she claimed she was just trying to be a supportive friend by highlighting how hard I worked. Each memory was a puzzle piece, and now, with the video as the final damning piece, the picture was complete. Sophia wasn't my friend, she was my rival. She didn't celebrate my successes, she saw them as a direct threat to her own. My engagement, a happy, stable relationship with a wonderful man, was a spotlight she couldn't stand to be out of. So she had to create a bigger, brighter spotlight for herself, even if it meant trying to extinguish mine. She didn't just want to be the main character in her own life. She needed to be the main character in mine, too. The woman in that video wasn't a stranger. She was the real Sophia, the one who had been hiding in plain sight all along, masked by years of shared history and my own willful blindness. I had been her loyal sidekick, her supportive cheerleader, her chill friend who could be counted on to forgive and forget. She called me a doormat. I whispered into the quiet of the room. "You're not a doormat," Ethan said fiercely. "You're kind and you're trusting. She took advantage of that. There's a difference." He was right. But I knew, with a certainty that settled deep in my bones, that I would never allow myself to be taken advantage of by her again. The grief was hardening into resolve. My mind, the one that organizes seating charts and coordinates vendors and creates flawless timelines, began to hum with a new kind of energy. I was an event planner. I solved problems. I managed chaos. And Sophia had just become the most chaotic, problematic event of my life. An event that required careful, meticulous, and definitive management. The planning had begun. The next morning, I woke up with a strange sense of purpose. The fog of hurt had lifted, replaced by a steely resolve. I wasn't going to scream or cry or send a long, rambling text message. That's what she would expect. That would give her more drama to feed on, more material to paint me as the unhinged, dramatic one. No, my response would be silent, precise, and executed with the same level of detail I would put into a high-end wedding. This wasn't about revenge in the heat of the moment. It was about justice, served cold and in public. My first call was to Olivia. "Did anyone else from your team see what happened?" I asked, my voice calm. "My sous chef, Marcus, saw the whole thing," she confirmed. He was disgusted, said she was acting like a high school mean girl. "Why?" "I'm going to need him as a witness," I said simply. "And Olivia, I need you to do something for me. I need you to quietly reach out to a few of the friends who were there, the ones you know felt uncomfortable. Not the sycophants, but the good people who got swept up in it. Just ask them to write down what they remember Sophia saying, for my own peace of mind." Olivia didn't question it. "Consider it done, cousin. What are you planning?" "I'm planning an event," I said, "and the guest of honor is Karma." My next step was research. Sophia's entire identity was built on her public image. Her boutique, Sophia's Closet, thrived because she had curated a persona as a chic, supportive, girl's girl entrepreneur. Her brand was everything. Hitting her there would be like cutting off Samson's hair. A quick search of our city's business journal gave me exactly what I needed. Sophia was one of 3 finalists for the Young Entrepreneur of the Year award, a prestigious local honor that came with a $25,000 grant and a massive media package, including a feature in the city's most popular lifestyle magazine. The award ceremony was in 3 weeks. It was a formal, high-profile event, attended by the city's business elite, local press, and influencers. It was, in short, the perfect venue. This was my gambit, my champagne gambit. I had sent her champagne as a symbol of peace, and she had turned it into a weapon against me. Now, I would use that same moment to orchestrate her downfall. Ethan and I sat down that night, and for the first time, I used my professional skills for a personal project of this nature. I pulled out a fresh notepad and a pen. At the top of the page, I wrote Project Unveiling. The plan had several phases. Phase 1, Asset Collection. This was already in progress. Olivia was gathering written statements. I had the video, the star of the show. I also reached out to my friend who had designed my engagement invitations and asked for a copy of the design file, complete with the date it was finalized, 3.5 months ago. Evidence. Phase 2, Infiltration. As a well-known event planner, I had connections. I looked up the PR firm handling the award ceremony. As luck would have it, the lead coordinator was a woman named Jessica, with whom I had worked on a charity gala last year. I sent her a friendly email. Hi Jessica, hope you're well. I saw you're handling the Entrepreneur Awards. Congrats, it's such a great event. My best friend, Sophia, is a finalist. I'm so proud of her and was thinking of putting together a little surprise tribute video to be shown if she wins. Is that something that might be possible? I attached a photo of me and Sophia from years ago, smiling and happy. A perfect Trojan horse. Jessica wrote back within the hour. Riley, so good to hear from you. That's such a sweet idea. The AV logistics are tight, but for you, I can make it happen. Just get me the file on a USB stick on the night of the event, and I'll make sure the tech team has it queued up. She will be so surprised. I smiled. Surprised was an understatement. Phase 3, the execution. This was the most critical part. The video couldn't just be the clip Olivia sent me. That was too raw, it needed to be produced. I spent a weekend editing. The video started with a montage of photos of me and Sophia through the years, childhood Halloweens, high school graduation, trips we'd taken. Soft, sentimental music played in the background. It looked exactly like a tribute video. It would lull her and the audience into a false sense of security. The montage would end with the picture of the expensive champagne bottle, followed by the note I had sent. Happy birthday. Thinking of you tonight. Love, Riley. Then, the music would cut out abruptly. The screen would fade to black for a single, jarring second before cutting to Olivia's shaky phone footage. Sophia's smug, laughing face would fill the giant screens in the bar. LL room, her cruel words would echo through the silent, stunned room. After her final, triumphant swig from the bottle, the video would cut to one last image. A high-resolution scan of my engagement party invitation with the date October 12th circled in red. Then, fade to black. The whole thing was 1 minute and 15 seconds long, a masterpiece of social destruction. The final piece of the plan was our role on the night. Ethan and I would attend the ceremony. We would be polite, smiling. We would even wish Sophia good luck. We would be the picture of grace. And when the video played, we wouldn't stick around to watch the fallout. We would simply get up and walk out. No drama, no shouting. We would let the evidence speak for itself. Her public humiliation would be a self-inflicted wound. I was just providing the mirror. The night of the Young Entrepreneur Awards was electric. The ballroom of the city's grandest hotel was filled with the clinking of glasses and the low hum of ambitious chatter. Men in tailored suits and women in glittering gowns moved through the crowd, networking and air-kissing. And in the center of it all, holding court near the bar, was Sophia. She looked radiant in a slinky, emerald-green dress that probably cost a month's rent. Her hair was styled in perfect waves, and her smile was dazzling. She was in her element, the undisputed star of the evening. When she saw Ethan and me walk in, her eyes widened for a fraction of a second, a flicker of surprise, before her mask of charming condescension snapped back into place. She glided over to us. Riley, Ethan, I'm so surprised to see you here. Her tone implied we didn't belong in such a high-powered room. We wouldn't miss your big night for the world, Sophia, I said, my voice smooth as silk. I gave her a hug, the kind of brief, air-filled hug she favored. We're rooting for you, truly. Ethan nodded, his expression perfectly neutral. Good luck tonight. Sophia beamed, completely disarmed by our apparent goodwill. Thank you, that means so much to me, especially after all that awkwardness with our parties. She patted my arm. I'm so glad you're not holding a grudge. You've always been the bigger person. Always, I said with a serene smile. Inside, my heart was hammering against my ribs, but on the outside, I was a sea of tranquility. We excused ourselves and found our assigned table. The USB drive felt like a lead weight in my clutch. During a break in the opening speeches, I made my way to the AV booth at the back of the room. Jessica, the PR coordinator, greeted me with a warm smile. Riley, so good to see you. Do you have the file? Right here, I said, handing her the small black USB drive. Thank you again for this, Jessica. It means the world. Of course, she's going to love it, she said, passing it to a technician. We'll have it ready to go for the final award. I returned to my seat, my job done. All the pieces were in place. Now, all I had to do was wait. The ceremony dragged on, with award after award being presented. Finally, it was time for the main event, the Young Entrepreneur of the Year. The host, a local news anchor, came to the stage. "Our 3 finalists are extraordinary examples of innovation and drive," he announced. Sophia, from Sophia's Closet. The camera panned to Sophia, who blew a kiss to the lens. The host introduced the other 2 finalists, but I barely heard their names. "And now, before we announce the winner," the host continued, "we have a special surprise for one of our finalists. It seems Sophia's best friend, Riley, wanted to share a message." I watched as Sophia's face lit up. She placed a hand over her heart, a perfect picture of humble surprise. She shot me a look across the room, mouthing "thank you." This was it. The lights in the ballroom dimmed. The giant screens on either side of the stage flickered to life. The first image appeared, me and Sophia as little girls in matching fairy costumes. The sentimental music started. A montage of our friendship played out: school pictures, vacation selfies, a photo from her boutique's grand opening where I was standing proudly by her side. The audience murmured in appreciation. What a beautiful friendship. The final photo of the montage was the bottle of champagne. The screen read, "Happy birthday. Thinking of you tonight. Love, Riley." Then silence. The music cut out. The screen went black. A palpable sense of confusion rippled through the room. And then, the shaky footage from Olivia's phone filled the screen. Sophia's face, smug and laughing. Her voice, amplified by the ballroom's state-of-the-art sound system, was horrifically clear. "A toast to my best friend, Riley, for this lovely bottle. She sent this over from her little engagement party. Sweet, isn't it?" The room was dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. Sophia's own smiling face on the screen was a grotesque parody of the composed woman sitting in the Audi. NCE. Her real smile had vanished, replaced by a mask of frozen horror. I knew when I planned this party that she wouldn't have the guts to say anything. I mean, who gets engaged in October anyway? Everyone knows this is my birthday month. I could see people in the audience turning to look at her. The members of the award committee at the front table were staring at the screen, their expressions a mixture of shock and disgust. She's an event planner, and she couldn't even secure a date that didn't clash with her best friend's biggest night? Please, I did her a favor. Now she knows who her real friends are. The ones who know how to really party. The video showed her taking a long, obnoxious swig from the bottle. Then it cut to the final image, my engagement invitation, the date, October 12th, starkly circled in red. The screen faded to black. For a moment, nobody moved. The silence was deafening, broken only by the sound of Sophia's sharp, panicked gasp. That was our cue. As planned, Ethan stood up and pulled back my chair. Without looking at Sophia, without looking at anyone, we turned and walked calmly towards the exit. Every eye in the room was on us, but they weren't seeing a victim. They were seeing a woman who had quietly, elegantly, and devastatingly reclaimed her own story. We didn't need to say a word. The unveiling was complete. The fallout was about to begin. We didn't go home. Instead, Ethan drove us to a quiet, late-night diner on the outskirts of town. We slid into a worn vinyl booth, and I ordered a coffee I didn't need. The adrenaline was still coursing through my veins, a high-frequency buzz beneath my skin. My phone, which I had placed face down on the table, began to vibrate. It didn't just vibrate once or twice. It started a continuous, frantic shudder, as if it were trying to dance its way off the formica. I didn't pick it up. "You okay?" Ethan asked, covering my hand with his. "I think so," I said, and I was surprised to find it was true. I don't feel triumphant. I just feel quiet, like a storm has finally passed. We sat there for over an hour, talking about everything and nothing. Our wedding plans, a movie we wanted to see, the ridiculous design of the diner's salt and pepper shakers. We were building a new anchor, a new moment of calm in the wake of the chaos I had unleashed. When we finally returned to our apartment, I braced myself and turned my phone over. 34 missed calls, 78 text messages. The sheer volume was staggering. Most were from Sophia. The first few were furious, filled with typos and rage. How could you do this to me? You ruined my life? Then they shifted to panicked pleading. Riley, please call me. We can fix this, I'm sorry. The final one, sent just minutes ago, was simply, please. I deleted the entire thread without responding. Then there were the texts from our mutual friends, the ones from Sophia's party. Apologies flooded my inbox. Riley, I am so sorry. I had no idea. What she said was monstrous. I feel like such an idiot for believing her. Can you ever forgive me? I just saw the video. I am ashamed I went to her party. Your real friends are here for you. I read each one, feeling a sense of detached validation. I didn't know if I could forgive them, but I was grateful for their honesty. The biggest wave of fallout came the next day. A local blogger who had been at the awards ceremony published a post titled, Champagne and Shamelessness. Entrepreneur Finalist S tribute video exposes nasty betrayal. The story was all there, detailing the heartwarming tribute that turned into a jaw-dropping display of narcissism. The blogger even contacted the PR firm, and Jessica, likely doing damage control, gave an on-the-record quote. We were led to believe the video was a sincere tribute from a best friend. We are appalled at the deception on all fronts. Of course, Sophia did not win the award. The committee released a statement saying the winner was chosen based on both professional achievement and personal integrity. The implication was clear. Her boutique's social media pages were flooded with negative comments. People posted reviews detailing their own negative interactions with Sophia. The carefully crafted Girls Girl brand she had built was shattered in a single night. Her empire of image had crumbled because the foundation was rotten. A week later, Olivia told me that Sophia had put her boutique up for sale. The public shaming had been too much for her business to survive. She was planning to move out of the city, to start over somewhere where her name wasn't synonymous with betrayal. I never spoke to Sophia again. I never had to. There was nothing left to say. My revenge wasn't loud or explosive. It was quiet, systematic, and complete. I had simply held up a mirror and forced her to look at her own reflection. The world saw it too. A few months later, Ethan and I got married. It was a small ceremony at the AIM Art Gallery where we'd had our engagement party. This time, it was filled to capacity. Every single person there was someone who loved and supported us without reservation. My cousin Olivia catered the event, and my maid of honor was a friend who had called Sophia out for her behavior from the very beginning. As Ethan and I shared our first dance, I looked around the room at the smiling faces of our friends and family. There was no shadow hanging over this day, no dull ache of betrayal. The space in my life that Sophia had once occupied wasn't empty. It had been filled with genuine love, with unwavering support, and with a profound sense of my own worth. I had learned the hard way that sometimes you have to burn a bridge to light your own way forward. The fire had been terrifying, but the path it illuminated was clear, bright, and entirely my own.